fucking get my door, put the fucking door in.
It's another show of Yes, You've Got It, blink and you'll miss it. Blink and you're on. And let's get straight down to the show tonight. Where do we start? Of course, the shout-outs. Yes, Wee Livy says don't do the shout-outs, but I'm in control of the show, so the shout-outs are continuing, because everybody and anybody who's anybody is shouting for the shout-out. And the first shout-out, and you know I'm unscripted, but I'm not unscripted for the shout-out. So a good friend of mine is Ian McMillan from Brigton, who I heard died. Not last week, not last year, not last month, but last year, May. His son Marco phoned me, then young Ian phoned me. So I've known Ian for 40 odd years. We used to go to Duckbury Marina, down to his boat, the jet skis. We'd go to Chippendales, we John McQuaid had, John Friel. John Friel was the guy. We used to follow John, follow. Yes, John was a good guy. I was at his funeral as well, 2009. Rest in peace, John. Rest in peace, Ian. But Ian, I tried my first line in 1983, straight from Miami. Yes, Ian sold to all the owners in the Glasgow nightclubs and pubs. His 4 boys are Ian, Marco, Nico and Antonio. Maybe not in that direction. We're not talking about first direction here, what I mean age direction. So let's go to the next one. Graham from Ayr, shall we? Shout out for one of his best pals. He's been in Cross House Hospital for the last 4 months. Well, I think he just got out. He had a stoma bag since he was 17. They all thought he was a goner, but last month the pals all chipped in, got him a brick at Ibrox. Lovely guys, because you know I'm a big Rangers supporter, but most of my family are Celtic, so who cares? They don't pay the wages. I've been told he's looking great now. He's fought back, loves all the podcast stuff. He shares. Oh wait a minute. No, he shakes a lot of people. He shakes a lot and people think he's on the drink, but he's not. But so does Alan Byrne, my friend, who I done a tribute to in the nasty HMP Strangeways, which has been rebranded HMP Shithouse Manchester. So Alan, hope you get your mention. Also another mention to a very good friend of mine, Warren, yes. The only one, Warren Slaney. He's innocent, from Leicester, but he's originally from East London. Warren, I think of you a lot. We were in Franken, Long Larton. We're in a few places. Yes, Warren is the man. And that boy is a great guy. So that's not the end of the shout-outs. There's still a few. So also Johnny, my pal, who stays in Townhead, is Greg's pal. Rest in peace, Greg. We were at your funeral. Greg stayed below me. He was a great guy. And a shout out to Anne, Johnny's wife. Johnny, big Rangers supporter, of course. And by the way, the Celtic supporters, I'm not having a go tonight because it was, well, I'm not going to say the score because I'm not going to tell you what week we're in. But it was a good one. Also, for John and Agnes, this is especially for Agnes's nephew, niece's boyfriend. His name is Ants Murdoch, and he watches you blink and miss it on a regular basis. So I salute you, Ants. Thank you for watching the show. So let's jump over here. Wee Gary Noodles, you're getting another shout out for your mum. She's been not well for months and months, and maybe longer than that, a year, a couple of years. So Gary only wants to say, stay strong, Shirley. It's all from the family. They're all rooting for you, including me. Shirley, you get better. Well, as better as you can be. I've not forgot also, Noodles, you've asked for Anne, who's your cousin's girlfriend, who's a regular mention. I'll touch with that. Is it the tenants that's doing it? No. Ian's only had one. He's going to have a few. So Anne watches all the show. That's Gary's cousin's girlfriend. So let's get to the Shire Boys. By the way, you're lucky. You just asked me this today. It's for Christopher Carson, a Gasky boy, and wee James Carson. Young James is in the nick. Hopefully about soon, because we don't see anybody in the nick. So that's your shout for the Shire Boys. Also, a little shout out from the Brickify Park kids. Yeah, he's one of the best brickies, and I heard he was in the Wee Men. But I'm the big man, putting the Wee Men, when I know what the Wee Men is. Okay, I don't mean anything bad with that. And let's get down to Dale Richardson, who's also a regular of the show, and watches all the shows, and is a distant relationship of Mr. P. Grant. Oh yes. And who else have we got? Let's see. Turn back round. Yes, and hopefully after more than 40 years in prison, Charlie Bronson might be getting released. Let's hope you do, Charlie. I had the pleasure of meeting you once in Long Lartin. It was 1991 when I just arrived. I'll not get into it, but I met you. And also, here's a wee message, and a wee message that I've not made up, that somebody has made up. You'll guess who it is. And it's be good to those who are good to you and fuck the rest of them. So I think that's all the shout is. Oh no, it's not. A big shout out goes to the lovely Ashley, of course, the GN, and Little Millie. Little Millie is coming up to 3. She's a crack little baby. She's a good dancer like her dad. No, her dad is a shitty dancer, shitty singer, but he will try. So that's all the shout outs. The Bulmount team got the last one there. I've got loads of shout outs. You can't find them. So hopefully nobody will be disappointed, but you'll be done in the next one. So get the glasses off you. It's not Specsavers. Yes, it is. It's not the pound ones. Have the tenants. Get down to your usual stands here. And let's continue the show. What is the show going to be about tonight? Well, Ian only decides the show. A day in advance? No. This is when you know that a big decision is coming up when Ian does that. And not take that, because already said, it's not Gary, it's Robbie. Well done, Robbie boy. Take that, and I'll take this. So the show tonight is going to be, well, I watched a show about Wakefield last week, the other day. It's from April, and the show was good. It's about monster mansions. And I want to speak about a few monsters. So it's about some nasty people I met in prison. Let's start off with a Mr. Paul Bostock. Yes, Paul Bostock. You cost me 5, nearly 6 months in segregation in Long Lartin in the 90s. By the way, it was the best segregation and solitary I have done. Met a few friends down there, and I've always wanted to mention you, Alan Condon. Yes, not the chief officer who used to be charged of the Metropolitan Police. The Alan Condon from Chelsea. We had many shouts at the window, Alan. You says Chelsea are good, I says your Chelsea are shit. Then the Russian boy came in, yous were good. So Alan, your team came good after all those years. They won the league, yes. They won the European Cup, yes. So Alan, big shout out. Hope you're in London listening to this, Alan, and we're going to catch up. We done our time good. And we spoke out that window many a night. So it was the best solitude done. So get back to the story. What happened to Mr. Bostock in HMP Long Lartin in Worcestershire, near Birmingham? Well, a few miles from Birmingham. 20 miles, maybe 30. Not too sure, but I've been in Long Lartin 3 times. Mr. Bostock, he was in for killing 2 women. Can I be graphic here? Is this over 18 graphic content? Well, turn your eyes away if it's not, because Mr. Bostock was a nasty individual. In Long Lartin, when I first arrived, I didn't want to be there. I was there only doing 2.5 years. And why was I there doing 2.5 years? Because the guy in the Chinese restaurant, and agreed to go down to England to be questioned. I was charged. So they kept me there. I get took to HMP Bristol, which I've got a lot of stories to speak about. Yes, the prison officers down there, yous didn't like us. There was 6 of us there. Boys used to come up to Long Lartin, Full Sutton, all the places in England and say, Ian, are you one of the Bristol 6? I thought, wait a minute, you've got the Birmingham 6, the Guildford 4. So I thought it was the IRA. No, we were in the Glasgow team. We were the Jesse James gang. What did we do down in Bristol? Well, that will be coming out shortly. But we battered a lot of prison officers down there at the end when they found out about the gun smuggle charge is in the book. So a wee plug there for the book again. But when they did find out about it, I know I'm going off course, I'm going to the Cumbernauld roundabout tonight. But what happened after 6 weeks when Bristol, a lot of people don't know this, we had 3 trials in Bristol, then went to Bailey, trial got abandoned at Bristol, tried to gun him. So this PO, principal officer, oh yes you tough guy, you says to us in November 1992, yes, I think it was with Johnny Boy Steele, we plugged for Johnny, the bird that never flew came out, I read it. Rangers were also on a run that time as well. I don't think it got through to final, it was semi-final of European Cup for the Lieutenant. What happened in Bristol? This principal officer says, look, you are not having your meeting, you'll all be dispersed in the next couple of days, you're having your next trial at the Old Bailey, everybody's sick of yous, we're sick of yous, and I'm sick of yous, and we all says, and how's that? He went, oh listen, I'm a real man. I says, are you? We all said that. And how you a real man? He went, oh, I was the principal officer in HMP Parkhurst, and I dealt with a lot of harder men than you said. Okay, sir, that's what you said. 2 minutes later, what happened to you? Wow, his arm was swinging. He was hit, allegedly, with a chair. His friend was lying in the stairs with a dislocated hip. Another 4 or 5 were punched fuck out of Glasgow style. We were all sent away to different prisons, and who copped it out in the 60s? Poor Robert Harper. Robert Harper went to Wormwood Scrubs. Yes, Robert, you did. You went to the Seg. They were nasty, nasty individuals in the segregation in Wormwood Scrubs. I was there when Florida Phil came in. I looked after Phil. Everybody was saying, oh, can we speak to Phil? We want to know where the Euros are. No, the escudos from Portugal. So I looked after Phil, but let's get back to Wormwood Scrub Seg. I told you I'm going off course. What happened is Robert came out his first morning, went for breakfast. He says, right. And the prison officer started. They didn't even give him a chance to get his beans and toast or porridge or whatever. They gave him a good doing. They knocked his cunt in. I think Robert got £20,000 compensation. I think 10 of yous from Wormwood Scrubs, maybe 7 of yous, were all charged with all the beatings. And it was actually alleged that there was a guy, can't give his name or whatever because I don't know, but it was going through the circle of the prison grapevine that there was a guy the prison officers allegedly hanged. That's how bad they were in the Seg of Wormwood Scrubs. And let me tell you this, in 1994, I was going down for an appeal to Wormwood Scrubs. The full sitting officers would take me down. They were getting a night or 2 to stay in London. Where did they put me? They made an excuse. It says, Ian, this is Mr. McDonald in reception. There's no places on the normal wing. I was a category A prisoner. You know you've got category A, you've got double A, and you've got highest A for the IRA. Okay? So the dirty bastard says, we can only accommodate you for 1 or 2 nights in the SEG. I went, wow, the SEG, where it all happens, we get your cunt battered in. Yes, but I was warned, I went to the SEG, wait a minute, I'm not in here for punishment. I'm only here to go to the appeal court personally. So I was only in my cell 20 minutes, the door opened, a team of thugs, yes, a team of thugs, about 6 or 7 of these, opened the door. Yes, I had a wee bit of hash sheet. You never saw that. I jumped over the window and had a few puffs, because Ian puffed joints for 5 years. So Mr. Michael Howard came in, we decided not to smoke it. Mr. Michael Howard, you are a bastard. You gave my friend Alan Byrne an extra 10 years. What did you also do, Michael? Or should I say Mr. Howard? You also brought out the MDT, mandatory drug testing. You sent a lot of people on the smack. A lot of good people. A lot of good people I knew. But I never took the smack. Me and my 3 pals that was smoking the hash. Yes, I know I'm going off course, but this is what he's like. We decided, right, there's MDT, mandatory drug testing. Oh, says, right, okay, we're going to stop it. How long did we stop it for? 2 nights. And we went, fuck yous. I'm supposed to not swear, but everybody else does it. Ian doesn't really swear. So went back on the hash. I got caught about a month later. I got twice. I denied it. He says, it's in your system. I says, yeah. I must have got spiked. Somebody's put a bit in my tea. Brilliant. So, okay. And who else did you introduce then? The DST, the Dedicated Search Team. Oh yes, yous were good. The Don't Stop Trying It mob. Yes, you brought them in. They were like James Bond. They had all these kits, boxes of spyware and everything. What, to search a prisoner's cell? Yes, and it was ruled that the prisoner couldn't be in the cell. You had to stand outside. No, wait a minute. You had to get put in another cell. Well, the DST, the Don't Stop Trying mob, went into your cell. They're putting cameras down the toilet. What were they hoping to find? No, they were hoping to find nothing. There was still guys like myself. It was appealing to court. I was done at the park. But I did get a year to go. So I was in 17 and a half years, down to 15, 2.5. But that's not what I'm going on about. The DST, they were only in there for one thing. All that crap, we're looking in the lights and the toilets under your bed and the bedposts for drugs, etc. Yous were in there for one thing, for top London gangsters with drug dealing, they were allegedly in for all the rest of it. Yous were in to take copy work of their paperwork. Oh yes, we all knew what yous were all about. Could we do anything about it? No, there was a lot of challenges to the High Court. No, the DST are the people. I know what I said, the DST, don't stop trying. You should never get anything off of me, but a little Casio. TV, it was only 1.5 inches. I went to Franklin for visits. Thank you, Mr. Lynn. Is John Lynn from Uddingston? Yes. John was doing 17 at a time, good friend of mine. I'm up to Franklin for 6 weeks. I know I'm getting off course, but so cares. Ian's still not get a guest on. When will he get a guest? When I decide. Not if anybody else decides. Me. So, me and John, we puffed away up there. John on the phone, by the way, and he says to me, Ian, can you find my phone in my cell even? And I said, well, let me have a little rumble about. Couldn't find it, but remember, I'm not the DST, the Dedicated Search Team, or what we call them, Don't Stop Trying. I couldn't find it. Wow. John showed me where it is. I'm not going to reveal the location, but I was staring at it every day for that 6 weeks. I was in his cell. Well done, John. Yes, master planker, master guy. And John, guess what John is? John is a Celtic supporter, the same as half of my family, my friends. Oh, so I am not bitter. You're not bitter when you sit with the IRA with a Rangers top on. Then Pat Martin asks for the photo. You all know that story to the maze. Yes. So, let's go. Let's get back to Long Lartin, Mr. Paul Bostock. What a despicable animal he was. So let's tell you what happened in Long Lartin, because I went, there's a big answer coming up here. I went, so you're telling me the first time I was in Long Lartin, there's people here that's done sexual offences? Oh yes, some of the boys were saying, that's why it's so good in Long Lartin, because you don't touch them, and they get allowed to have a drink. I took Eckies in the jail. So I went, right, okay then. But this Mr. Bostock, he never got touched. He was in from an early age, 17, 18. Can I go into graphic detail what Mr. Bostock done? Well, it was two girls. Let's go to the second murder. Shall we see in camera? Yes, Ian, let's see. That's when you know there's an answer coming up. Executive answer. Mr. Bostock. He's a big guy. I heard he was a karate expert and the rest of it. I'm surprised I never put a PP9 battery, yes, over his fucking head. Because nobody else did it. But the second murder, come on in, spit it out. Because he spat something out on the girl's grave. And it wasn't a spittle from here. Yes. Come on now. What was it? He went up to the first girl's grave and done something vulgar, which is too vulgar to even explain on YouTube. You can maybe guess it wasn't a spittle that came out, it was something down there. And what happened? I'm sure, not 100%, but I'm sure he saw a girl, this Paul Britton, the jigsaw man, there was an offer. It was in his book that Mr. Bostock saw a girl with red shoes, right? And he killed that girl. But I've been hearing in the grapevine that Mr. Bostock might be out. No, and yes, he'll be out not as Mr. Bostock. He's educated, he used to go to education every day. He's probably a high-flying salesman. He probably owns a company. And all you daft people out there, probably is in England or Wales or wherever, I'm not saying everybody's daft, but this guy will be sitting amongst you. Oh yes, he'll be speaking all polite, but when he goes to the Christmas dance, he will, I'm sure he's still his urges, he will be looking at a girl with red shoes. Will he do it again? Of course he will. So, if you know who I'm talking about, which is a photograph, I'm going to try to get one of him, but he'll be changed. So, girls, all I'm saying to you, if the Christmas dances, the work dances, don't wear red shoes in England, especially south of England or Wales, in case Mr. Bostock's there. So what happened to Mr. Bostock? Let's get right down to it. Yes, I spent nearly 6 months in segregation in Long Lartin. Well, I'm laughing at it just now. Cheers, tenants. It's another wee plug for you. I hope you're going to plug me, give me a sponsorship deal. Tenants. Because I stay not far from tenants. I'm in town. So anyway, Mr. Bostock, cut to the chase scene. He was ready to leave to go to HMP Gartree on a move, a downward move, which I never go. I'm not bitter at this, but this bastard, it was alleged that somebody went into his cell, a couple of people, maybe 2 or 3. It was done perfectly, so I heard. He went down for his lunch. Yes, down for lunch for the second and the third flat in Long Lartin. You got your lunch. I went for it as well, but I made the dinner at night. Ian became a cook. Yes, Eddie Richardson, Ronnie Sullivan and James. We were on the food boat at the time. Mickey Davey was there from Corby. I hope Mickey's nearly out. Are you alright, Mickey? You're a good guy? Yes. Not what I can say a lot of people from Corby. But yes, my friend David Fitzsimmons came from Corby. David came up 10 years ago, 11 years, to invite me to his 50th birthday. Tragically, David never made it, and we never made it to the social club in Corby either. David went away, I don't get his rest yet, but David tragically died. We were at his funeral, all his sister's family, everybody from Poso was there. David was a good guy. He was in my first book, A Journey Through Gangland Mayhem. Oh, by the way, the second book is the same book, but it's a different title. Scotland's Wildest Bank Robber. But in the first book, there's a photo of me and David Fitzsimmons in Portugal in 2000, here's the right answer coming up, 2006 or 2007. So anyway, Mr. Bostock went down for his lunch. It'll take him about 3 or 4 minutes to do that. The time he was down, he was going to be that afternoon from Long Lartin to Shimpi Gartree, as I've already said. Allegedly, there was petrol all over his cell, in boxes and bags of paperwork, probably pawn books as well with girls with red shoes. Wow, I've never saw a fire like it. Because I think I was standing behind Mr. Boss, sort of two away from down at the lunch ceremony. And we came back up. Yes, Ian, what a good one. The whole place was burning. I saw Mr. Bostock crying like a baby. Well, he was worse than a baby. Oh, myself. But all he was thinking about was all the paperwork and all the scud books of Razzle Dazzle and all that he'd collected for all those years. The perverted cunt, killer of 2 women, of red shoes, be warned. I know you have another name. So anyway, this fire was so bad. Oh yes, my pal Perry Warrior was there and all. Perry, how you doing? I hope you're out. Perry's a good guy. Had many parties with Perry from South London. Yes, big shout out. Another shout out there. So everybody evacuated from the wing in Long Lartin. We're all standing outside. Wow, I think we stood outside for 2 hours with a wee fly puff. Yes, we had a joint. Me and Perry and some of the other boys, me and Mickey Davey, the lot. So for a few hours, the smoke, the fire brigades were there racing to Evesham and Worcestershire. All we were concerned about was our hooch, that the prison officers never done illegal searches under our beds. But I don't think they did. No, they never. Because it was my turn. It was like a domino effect of playing chess. Never had played chess. Beat the screws, put on the wanted bed and move it to the next for the cells. The prison officers used to get in the morning, tap, tap, tap your bars. But when you're at work, someone would have a wee look under your bed, illegal activity, because you've done me with fermenting hooch. And what did you do? You cheated, the prison officers. Yes, cheated. Something I don't do. I am not a cheater. Yes, but I tell little white lies, but that doesn't make you a cheater. So he's under my bed one day. He's done me with fermenting liquid. I can't remember the full thing. So anyway, Mr. Bostock, all his stuff was burned. We get returned to our cells. He went to HMP Gartree, Mr. Bostock. Yes, you did. But to defend your property, it was a big no. You'd fuck off. Good. What happened 2 days, maybe 3 days later? My hooch was there, everybody's hooch was there because of the smoke. We get put back in the cells. I think we even got offered tea and biscuits and a packed lunch out in the yard. We were there that many hours. We still had a few joints. Yes, we did. Perry, Mikey, and all the boys. So they came to the cell one day for 3 days. They always come early in the morning. So they came at 6:30. Mr. McDonald got out of bed. We were there with the shields. It wasn't the don't stop trying mob. It was the ordinary prison officers that I probably knew, but you couldn't see Rush shielded up. The helmets on, couldn't see them. They took me to the segregation unit, also known as the block. I spent 5-6 months there with Mr. Alan Condon. Yes, your team finally came good, Alan, as I mentioned. Good guy, Alan, from Chelsea. We always knew your team would do well, but we didn't know that the Russians were going to pump a lot of money into it. But what a minute. Wait a minute, Alan. Your team that had pumped everybody. Not pump, but they beat everybody once they had that cash. So I salute you, Alan Condon. Who else do I salute? Another good friend at the time. Who was in there? Yes, Skip Mahalloran. We were on the rowing machine. We could do 10,000 metres. 1,000 metres, 4 minutes. So we done 40 minutes. What age was he then? 36, 37, very fit. Oh yes, but people used to walk by me and Skip Mahalloran. Skip was from West London, let me tell you a bit about him. I'm getting off track, but F it. Skip got 24 years, reduced to 18 years. He'd done over 100 banks. Oh yes, they'd sometimes do 2 or 3 a day. So he plugged out at 5 or 6 banks. And as I say, he got reduced to 18. We're on the road machine. Wee Ronnie O'Sullivan rode by. Yes, Mr. O'Sullivan, I was talking to him last week. And we had many a good laugh. Your boy, he's doing well. He's progressing. He is progressing through the snooker at his age, doing really good. And what did I say to you, Mr. O'Sullivan, when I first met you and I got to know you good? I said, how did he start? Oh, he had one of the wee tables on his 5 at 6. And I went, Ronnie, I had one of these tables. He went, aye, but you were shy. I went, for fuck's sake. Aye, okay then. Same as you told your ma could speak Scottish or Glaswegian, because she moved to Hackney 50 years ago, not 5 years ago. And I went, then you went Shitterson Cantine even. I went, okay Ronnie, put me on the phone to Ronnie's mum after the 5 and 6 banger. And I went, how are you? And she went, how are you doing, son? Yes, Ronnie's wee mum did retain her Scottish accent, and I'm proud to say, well, yes, I'm proud to say, she did have a better accent. So I salute you, Mrs. O'Sullivan. I know you're gone, just like my mother's gone, but you have to go sometime. So rest in peace, Ronnie's mum, rest in peace, my mum, and rest in peace, my Auntie Madge, who went the other day. Sorry for saying she was 81, she was 80. So, where do we go from here? Right, my 6 month, I get moved. I saw in the prisons I've been in, I was in England 9 years, 2 months. I saw a few sex offenders getting it. What did they get? Well, likely some of them got a boiling kettle of sugar, a full bag, maybe more, put right over their bum and their boat race. Oh yes, they never recovered just with blisters. They were, well, what were they? The ugly bastards, but perverted bastards as well. What else did I see some of them getting? Oh, one I saw get lured into a TV room. He got everything. He got stabbed, slashed, hammer. Oh yes, you could get these in all the jails because you were like cooking facilities. Yes, so a lot of things happening to them. Did any of them die? No, unfortunately no. So let's move up the ranks. Did I see any more? No, I never. That is the truth. I only saw 8 or 9 of them getting slashed, battered, whatever. Was that involved? No. He doesn't lie. He only tells wee white lies. But I done 10 years, 5 months. And after I come off the category about 8.5 years, I says to the prison officers, okay, I'm off the Cat A, category A. We're on it for 8 years. Wow. I had somebody next door to me who was accused of killing 6 people. Yes, Archibald Hall, the butler. And I used to say to Archie, tell me, Archie, what happened with those 6 murders? Okay? And he would say to me, oh, you're a terrible man, but I'd have a drink with Archie. His boyfriend was there, Gary from Yorkshire. And another couple of people. Jeremy Bamber used to be about the scene. I know there's a lot of people didn't like Jeremy at the time, they didn't speak to him, but he was on the wing. And Phil Sutton, nobody touched him. The guys got another appeal in. Did he do it? Well, everybody used to think he done it. But I would give him the benefit of the doubt. There was a lot of people out for financial gain with Jeremy Bamber, including the girlfriend. I think she moved to Australia, who was paid a lot of money with the police, and everybody else. They were blaming the sister. But what will I say? I would sway and say the evidence wasn't there. So he's got an appeal in. Hope he does well. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but I'm only saying this is my say from now. I've heard he's got an appeal in, so good luck, Mr. Bamber. Okay, who else was in with? I was in with the Black Panther, Donald Nielsen. Yes, he used to walk about the exercise yard chewing carrots, bits of turnip. He was an odd fella. What did he do? Oh, he was a bad person. He used to rob post offices during the night, where the owners or the subletters were staying in a flat above. He would tie them up and rob safes. But what I don't agree with Donald Nielsen, the Black Panther, done, and he died in prison. Yes, he did. So good for him. He was a lonely figure in prison, and it was a name. You remember, this is unscripted. He actually abducted a girl who had a wealthy family, broke into the bedroom during the night, I believe. Her name was Leslie Whittle, I can remember. I think she was a high arrest for a fortune, and they put her down a drainage tank. Yes, she was down this drainage tank while the Black Panther demanded a heavy ransom. Yes, you can all look this up. I didn't even know I was going to say this. Yes, he demanded a ransom. I believe there was about 1,000 police in this inquiry. And he never got a ransom. What happened to poor Leslie Whittle? I think he just went like bang, shot her the cord round her neck, she hung. So his demise came from, he was in a car, he had his shotgun on him. I think he just done a robbery at the post office, and he was stopped, but he never stopped. He was arrested, by the way, with 2 police officers. There was a struggle, I think he fired the gun at him, I'm not too sure, but he was arrested anyway. And he got a life, natural life. So, I'm ready to wrap this up. I've got another can. I didn't know where I was going there, but wait a minute. Who was the other guy from Nottingham? Yes, Naughty Nottingham. He had one leg. What was his name? He came into a wing in Phil Sutton, and he was chased back out. He was a man who had also 1,000 police officers on him. He killed a girl who was a prostitute, allegedly. Doesn't make her a bad girl. He made this other, what was her name? She was an estate agent, I believe, from Birmingham. He went to see a house, he kidnapped her, and he had her in a box that he'd made in Notts near Nottingham. And this is all just from memory. This girl was saved, thank God. I'm trying to remember her name, but that little bastard Came into our wing, I know, it didn't even last a couple of hours, trying to think his name, don't even need his name, one-legged, and he asked for the ransom was coming, it flew over a bridge, and I don't know if he grabbed the money, but he was flying. He had a motorbike, it was foggy that night. Did he get away with the ransom? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure his name either, but I'm going to wrap it up here. I've just went into a mad one tonight. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you've liked the content, let me know, because this has been unscripted. I've just decided to let it go. What's that? Hey, you should give, yes, another shout out. I've got to look here with the glasses. A girl that's always putting in comments. Sharon Cassidy. As she said, she likes a comment. I like her comment. And Sharon, you've been saying good things about the show. You miss me when I don't do one. So a big shout out for Sharon. So we'll end it up with the Blink and You Miss It tonight. He's only had 2 tenants. Come on, tenant Bruce. Get the finger out, get a sponsorship deal done. Because he is going higher. He's not the guest yet. So what I'm going to say is good night from Glasgow. And all you people in England, Wales, Ireland, Donegal, Spain, everywhere. Portugal, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia. I say to you, good night, goodbye, and I'll see you soon. Bye.